to applicable law and my determination that attendance by remote means is necessary because an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent due to the declared public health disaster caused by COVID-19. This meeting is conducted by video conference. We will now have a roll call to establish quorum. Will you please unmute yourselves so we can move forward? Thank you. Vice Chair Silverstein. Alderman King. Alderman Hairston.
Present.
Alderman Sawyer. Alderman Mitchell. Alderman Harris. Alderman Sedlowski Garza.
Present.
Alderman Thompson. Alderman Cardenas. Alderman Quinn.
Here.
Alderman Moore.
Present.
Alderman Curtis. Alderman O'Shea.
Here.
Alderman Brookins. Alderman Rodriguez.
Present.
Alderman Tabares.
Present.
Alderman Scott. Alderman Burnett.
Present.
Alderman Ervin.
Present.
Alderman Taliaferro.
Present.
Happy birthday, Alderman
Thank you,
Taliaferro.
Chair. Thank you, Chairman.
Alderman Raboris.
Present.
Alderman Wagisback.
Here.
Alderman Austin.
Here.
Alderman Ramirez Rosa.
Present.
Alderman Villegas.
Present.
Alderman Mitz.
How can I give 85? I thought I was limited to.
Alderman Spizzato.
Exposado is here.
Alderman Napolitano.
Present.
Alderman Riley.
Present.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Tunney.
Here.
Alderman Kappelman.
Present.
Alderman Osterman.
Present.
Okay, and I see non-member Cardona here. Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Harris is here.
Alderman Harris, got you.
Alderman Vasquez is here.
Alderman Vasquez, as a non-member, we have you.
Alderman
Original
King
Lopez
is
is here.
Alderman Lopez, non-member, we have you.
Alderman King is here.
Hi, Alderman King, got you.
Alderman Sawyer's here.
Hi, Alderman Sawyer.
Work.
Okay, there are 26 members present. We have a quorum. At this time, we will begin the public comment period. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. We have one public speaker who signed up to speak to us this morning, and we'll begin with that person, Tremel Williams.
Do you want me to cut the top off? No, it's fine. Okay.
Greetings, Chairman and committee. Great morning, Committee on Budget and Government Operations. My name is Tremel Williams of Elite Mind Management LLC, a small business here in the city of Chicago. I am also a part of and a full supporter of the Black Heroes Matters for DuSable Coalition. A lot of you guys are already familiar with our initiatives and our demands, but I just want to make sure that I get on this call and address this committee to make sure that our demands are heard in the process. I know it's a process already for us to achieve our demands, but I just want to make sure that everyone on this committee is aware of the Black Heroes Matters for DuSable initiative, which is objective is to give the founding father, Jean-Baptiste Point DuSable, Black man of Haitian descent, his just due honor. Over 200 years, there has been little recognition of the founding father. Of course, we have the bust, of course, we have the Riverwalk, and so forth. But it's a shame that the founder of the city does not have a full city holiday, not just a day of observation, which the city council has approved before for March 4th, but he needs a full city holiday. Also, we are aiming for a street to be renamed. There's no reason that we have even, no disrespect to pastors and faith leaders or other people who have caused effect or who have had an impact on the city of Chicago, but the founding father does not have a street. That's horrible. We are looking to rename Lakeshore Drive in his honor to DuSable Drive. Also, as I said, a city holiday, not just a day of observation. And last and most importantly, he needs a full monument, a full statue at least 25 feet erected in a prominent place so that all the hundreds of thousands of tourists and visitors that we get to the city can not only see the statue, but also be educated on who the founding father is and his contribution to this great city, which is now the third largest city in the country. And in my point, actually the greatest city in the world. Thank you guys for your time. And I just want to keep that on your mind. Black Heroes Matters for DuSable, blackheroesmatters.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. This concludes the public comment period. And for the record, I want to acknowledge that we've been joined by Alderman Mitchell, Alderman Curtis, Alderman Brookins, and Vice Chair Silverstein. Okay, we will begin with this monthly 45 report.
Thank you, Chairman.
Excuse me? We will begin with the monthly 45 reports, Rule 45 reports. Approval of the September 2nd, 2020, September 30th, 2020, and October 5th, 2020 monthly Rule 45 reports for the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations. Are there any questions from my colleagues? Please use the raise your hand function.
Move to accept the reports.
Motion made by Alderman Ervin to recommend approval of the reports by the same roll call vote as was applied to determine quorum. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Item number 1 on the agenda from the Department of Transportation.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Daley Thompson.
Madam Chair?
Yes, I have you down as.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Alderman Thompson.
Hello.
Yes, Alderman
I was
Thompson.
on mute. I was just raising my hand earlier to just say I was here. For some reason, it was said I was on mute. Thanks.
No problem, Alderman.
Alderman Carter is also here.
Thank you, Alderman Cardenas and Alderman Thompson. We have you identified and down as part of the quorum for today. Item number 1 on the agenda from the Department of Transportation is an ordinance concerning the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago for an extension of time to complete flood protection and runoff reduction pilot study in the Chatham neighborhood encompassed by the 6th, 8th, and 9th wards. With us today, we have Scott Wydell from CDOT to speak on the ordinance. We also have Karen Vilars with us from the Water Department and Richard Fisher from the MWRD. Scott?
Good morning, Chairman Dahl and members of the Committee on Budget and Government Operations. I wanted to talk to you today, thank you for the introduction, and wanted to talk to you today about a pilot called the Rain Ready Chatham Project. And let me just start my PowerPoint. So Rain Ready Chatham is a project that we started working on with, it's the Chicago Department of Transportation, the Department of Water Management, and the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District in partnership with the Center for Neighborhood Technology, which is a Chicago-based nonprofit. And it's a pilot study in the Chatham neighborhood, and I'll show you a map of the particular area we're focusing on to test the effectiveness of runoff reduction and flood protection, to really the goal being to reduce basement backups and the flooding of people's basements in single-family homes. And this is just a pilot we're working on. So it's a collaborative effort. As I mentioned, you can see a map on the screen here of its portions of the 6th, 8th, and 9th wards, as Chairman Dahl mentioned. And what we're looking to do is identify and develop approaches to test flood damage reduction for up to 40 single-family homes in the Chatham neighborhood. This is a project the original IGA was executed a couple years ago. As you can imagine, though, COVID has slowed us down and actually created some challenges for the program this year. The pilot, you can see on the screen here, there's a map that shows different water in the basement, water in the street, different from 311 calls, and also modeling completed by both the water department and the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. What the project will include is Green Corps Chicago, which is the city's green industry job training program for individuals with barriers to employment. It's a program that's based at the Chicago Department of Transportation. We will install rain gardens, French drains, and other flood protection technology outside the homes. We'll allow our trainees in that program to gain valuable knowledge in green infrastructure and other technologies. And then Rain Ready, which is a program of the Center for Neighborhood Technology, excuse me, Center for Neighborhood Technology. They will actually, before we do that work, CNT, or Center for Neighborhood Technology, will assess homes in this focus area that was shown on the screen. And they will actually look for homes that are well suited to where we think that it may help to actually install a rain garden. And each home will also get a check valve or a backflow preventer as well, installed by a plumber who will be contracted by the Center for Neighborhood Technology. There will be no cost to the homeowners of this project to actually do this work. And then finally, just a little bit on the finances of the project. MWRD is paying for this project. In part, they will pay for up to $400,000 for the installation of the backflow preventers and check valves and the green infrastructure installations by Green Corps Chicago. The city, through the water department, is actually paying for the administration of this program. All of these funds are already committed. There's no additional funding anticipated to be needed from the city or MWRD at this time. Part of the project, as I mentioned, CNT, the Center for Neighborhood Technology, will actually be assessing each of the homes. And as part of that, they'll actually have to enter into the home with the homeowner's permission, obviously, to assess the likelihood of success. So for example, one of the things they'll be looking for is, does the homeowner's basement foundation have cracks in it? Something like that would actually, even if we install the backflow preventer and put in a rain garden, the cracks in this foundation could still potentially lead to flooding. So that would be the type of assessment that they would be working on and actually doing before any of this work would proceed. The proposed extension gives us time to complete the project and also do some post-project evaluation to see how both the backflow preventer and the green infrastructure are working and how successful they are for this pilot. And then finally, at the request of MWRD, there's a minor amendment included in the intergovernmental agreement as well to add veterans business enterprise language, so that a portion of 3% of the contract of the work that CNT does will actually go to veteran-owned businesses. With that, I'm happy to take any questions. As Chairman Dahl mentioned, Rich Fisher from MWRD is here, as well as Karen B. Lars from the Department of Water Management.
Thank you, Scott. Before we take questions, I want to acknowledge that Alderman Scott has joined us, and we will count him in the quorum along with Alderman Roboris and Wagisback. Alderman Sawyer, Alderman Harris, or Alderman Beal, if he's on the line, do you want to add anything here?
Chairman, I have nothing to add and move to pass if no one else has anything to add.
I second that motion, Alderman Sawyer.
Okay, we have two
Chairman.
questions. So we'll start with Alderman Roboris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sean, you mentioned earlier that you'll be adding, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District is going to be adding check valves. Did I hear that correctly?
That is correct. Part of the project.
Okay, and
yes.
where will they be installed?
They will, I believe, generally be installed on the private property side
On the
private property
They're
side.
normally installed on the on the property owner's side of the
Correct.
property.
That's correct.
And how is this going to be financed? Who's paying for this?
So in this particular case, this is just a pilot. Both the water department, CDOT, CNT, and MWRD were all interested in testing these technologies to see how effective they can be. So MWRD will be funding $400,000. That money is going primarily to the construction, and the water department is funding primarily the administration of the program, the oversight, the assessment, the work by the Center for Neighborhood Technology.
Now, the objective here is to obviously manage flooding, but my question is, what happens to the systems that the water department have installed in many of the catch basins that keep the water on the street level for a certain time? That will work as long as these vortexes are maintained.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, I can tell you that when the issue comes up where we're getting calls, the aldermen get all the calls when there's either they're flooding in the basement or there's too much water in the street. And what we're telling our constituents is you want to keep the water up as long as possible. We know that. So my concern is that if these vortexes are removed, because in many cases they are, is that you're still going to have the same problem. And if they don't have a check valve installed, they're going to get backup no matter what.
Right.
And then you also mentioned about doing a what's that called? A private drain?
No, we will not. We will be doing rain gardens, things like rain gardens or French drains, which is just something to soak water into the ground.
Where are you going to put these French drains?
Those will also be on the private property side, and that will be up to the different technologies. There's about 4 different techniques we're looking at, including French drains and rain gardens. It will be up to the homeowner in some ways to select what that is, and in some ways also what their preference is. Because rain garden obviously normally includes native plants and other things, which some homeowners do not want to. They don't like that appearance. So that we'll be looking at and trying to customize the approach to the homeowner.
And there's also
there's
also maintenance. There's a maintenance issue on that too. But I think the best bang for the buck would be installing a check valve.
Every home alderman will get a check valve or a backflow preventer. In addition, they will also get green infrastructure in some way. They'll sign off on it. It will be only willing homeowners who participate in this.
And Madam Chair, I apologize that I'm hogging all this time, and how will you select where this pilot program goes?
The Center for Neighborhood Technology, in partnership with CDOT, Water Department, and MWRD, have put together a process to evaluate homes. There's about, I believe if I remember correctly, 60 to 80 homes in the area that I showed on the map, and we'll be trying to complete this work in up to 40. And it'll be things like, are there cracks in the foundation that are going to prevent this from happening or from being effective in the first place? Is there the homeowner willing and interested in this program, along with a physical assessment of the property as well? So for example, if all of the landscape of the home all tilts towards the house, there's nothing we can do to prevent, to reduce flooding, because it's all that water flows downhill. So that all of those things will be included in the assessment, Alderman.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Roboris. Alderman Wagisback, followed by Alderman Napolitano.
Thank you, Chairwoman Dowell. Sean, could you send through the chair, just for the aldermen, maybe a list of the major causes of flooding for the pilot area, but also citywide, just an overall set of numbers that we have for homes that have flooded, and really look at what the causes are. If you could send us that list as well when you're looking at this pilot, and then citywide. Mm-hmm. I've heard a little bit of what you said there, but we all see a lot of things about alleys and diverters, water going into alleys from new homes or old homes. So if you could kind of hone in and give us what the general list of causes are and the origins of that water, other than just, massive, we live in a marsh and there's a lot of rain.
Right.
That would be helpful, and pass it through the chair. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'll
Thank you,
work with
Chairwoman
the
Dow.
water department to pull that information together. Alderman White as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Napolitano?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question. Who is going to be doing the installs of the check valves on the residential side?
That will be a licensed plumber who will be contracted by the Center for Neighborhood Technology, Alderman.
And will that go through the city as well? Will the city have to sign off on
They'll have
that?
to, I apologize. They'll have to secure all the necessary permits to do that work. Yes,
Okay, and those will be licensed bonded plumbers that are doing that?
that's correct.
Okay. Can I have all this information sent to our ward office? Because we actually introduced the same program about 8 months ago that's been completely dismissed. We had about 11 to 12 aldermen sign off on the same thing, hoping we can have this done on the northwest side as well. I know you probably have a map of the entire city of the most flooding points, and I guess it's always good to start somewhere, but we've been told this can't be done. And now here it is being done, which is amazing. So if I can have all that sent over to the 41st Ward, I'd like to see how this all of a sudden got put through without anyone really knowing about it. It's pretty amazing. All right, thank you very much.
Sure. And Alderman, I will note this is a pilot. Our hope, I think the hope of the water department and MWRD is to be able to do more of this work in the future, but we're piloting it first to make sure we determine what works best.
Absolutely. Ours was a pilot too. We just hope to be a part of it eventually. Thank you, sir. Thanks for doing this.
Chairman, could I just respond? I just want to respond.
Alderman Harris, is that you?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we've been working on this for 4 to 5 years, so it's not like it just came up. It was all of us working together. It's just been a long time to put it together and to figure out how to do it. So it wasn't that it just came up. It's like a 4 or 5 year process that we, Alderman Sawyer and I have gone through. So I just want to put that on the record.
Thank you, Alderman Harris.
Ditto.
We have several other questions from Alderman Ervin, followed by Alderman Villegas, followed by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really quick, a statement was made that this work was going to be done by contractors, and my question is, will the traditional MBE rules apply, or is this something being done specifically by CNT where our procurement rules and expectations would not be in play?
No, Alderman, this through this IGA and included, as I mentioned earlier on, we will be applying primarily because MWRD is paying for that portion of the work. We'll be applying their MEB, WEB, DB requirements, and additionally also applying Veterans Business Enterprise requirements as well. So this will include vast, diverse businesses. I don't have the exact percentages in front of me, but that is absolutely, those will apply even though the procurement is being done by CNT.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. With this being, heavily on the south side of Chicago, I hope that the contractors that they get look like the people in the communities in which they're serving. So I think that would be a wise decision on part of everyone, that we have all these opportunities in the community, and we want to see some folks working on these opportunities that look like the people that are being served. So
Understood and
appreciate
appreciate
help in
it.
that. Thank you.
Understood and appreciate it, Alderman. And I will note that a lot of the work outside the homes will be done by Green Corps Chicago, which is our green job training program, which is made up of folks, honestly, primarily from the south and west sides, individuals with barriers to employment who've potentially been involved in the criminal justice system, never had a job before, et cetera, low educational attainment. That's our training program through CDOT that'll actually be doing a lot of the work outside the homes as well.
Well, hopefully you all can train some of those folks to do some of the work inside the home, get them plumbers and get them on a real good career path in that same breath. So let's try to look at that to help some of these young people out. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Alderman Ervin. We've been joined by Alderman Mitz, so we have you counted in the quorum, Alderman Mitz. Alderman Villegas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick question, Sean. What's the anticipated average cost per installation? And how many-
That's we're hoping to do up to 40, but the reality is we're thinking it's probably going to be closer to 20 to 30 homes. That's one of the things we're looking to test with this pilot, in all honesty.
But what's the total appropriation that we're approving?
There's four. Actually, the appropriation's already been approved. This is just an amendment of the time to extend this IGA. But there's $400,000 for construction. So if we're able to do 40 homes, that would obviously be $10,000 per home. We're expecting that the cost will probably come in a little bit higher, and that's one of the things we're trying to determine.
So $10,000 per home for a check valve system?
For a check valve and green infrastructure construction as well.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm sorry, Madam Chair, just wanted to say congratulations to those wards that are receiving this pilot. I think this is a good program.
Thank you, Alderman Villegas. Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple things. So does our project labor agreement also apply to I know we had MBE, WBE, we talked about the veterans. So does the PLA also apply to this?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question, Alderman. I'll have to check into that and get back to you through the chair.
Okay, if you could, please. And then number two, the PowerPoint, I don't know if it was my internet, but I didn't see anything. Can you circulate that to us through the chair, please?
Sure.
So we have that. And you know, I also want to commend my colleagues and the MWRD. Back when I was at the MWRD, we were talking about doing things like this and with the aldermen. So I'm glad to see that happening. And I think this will be a great program. And I think it'll be successful that we could then duplicate it and do it up on the northwest side with Alderman Napolitano. The $10,000 per house cost, that's all coming out of the water fund, correct?
Actually, the vast majority, most of the construction funding is coming from MWRD. The water department is funding the administration. That's all the assessments and the work that CNT is doing. That's being funded out of the water fund, correct?
Correct. So it's not the general. So again, I commend and I want to thank my former colleagues over at MWRD for all the work that they're doing. So great project. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderman. Sean, you mentioned that the total cost of the project is $400,000, right?
It's $400,000 for construction and then $200,000 for administration. So it's $600,000 total.
Does that administration figure seem a bit high? 50% seems like a high percentage for administration.
You know, I think it's really, again, this is a pilot, and that a lot of this has gone into developing the assessment techniques and other work that we're doing. And you know, to be honest, we're also going into 40 to 60 homes to do the assessment to narrow it down to the number of homes that we're going to be working on. So there's a lot of kind of person power involved in actually doing the assessment before we can actually do any work.
Well, I would like to receive through the chair what the actual percentage of administrative cost is. I understand that there's so what I'm hearing you saying that they're going to be paying people out of that $200,000 to do work?
To do assessment work of the properties, right? To actually physically visit the properties, you know, fill out a checklist, talk to the property owners, negotiate any agreements with the property owners, all of that type of work.
Okay, that's different than an administrative fee. I'm interested in knowing what the organization's administrative fee is.
Okay.
In the program.
Okay.
Is there a motion to recommend approval of item number 1 on the agenda by the
Sawyer had moved to pass.
Alderman Sawyer so moves. Hearing no objections, so ordered. The due pass recommendation of the ordinance will be reported out at the next city council meeting on Wednesday, December 16th. Item number 2 on the agenda. An ordinance introduced by Alderman Tom Tunney, 44th Ward, approving the transfer of funds within the Committee on Zoning, Landmark, and Building Standards for the year 2020. Alderman Tunney?
Good morning, Chairman Dowell and members of the Budget Committee. The ordinance is asking to authorize the transfer of funds for the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards from contractual services to commodities. This fund transfer will allow for the replacement of all end-of-life computer equipment, which is no longer supported and maintained by AIS, and postage required for mailing of aldermanic zoning changes. It's not new money, it's just transferring within the committee from contractual to commodities. So I ask for favorable consideration of the ordinance in front of you today. And
Thank you, Alderman Tunney. You didn't mention the amount, but the amount is $10,000, correct?
Yes, thank you. 10,000 is the transfer.
Okay. Is there a motion to recommend approval of item number 2 on the agenda by the same roll call vote as was applied to determine quorum?
So moved, Chairman.
Speak a name.
Alderman Scott.
Alderman Scott so moves. Hearing no objections, so ordered. The due pass recommendation of the ordinance will be reported out at the next City Council meeting on Wednesday, December 16th.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Tunney. The last item on the agenda.
This is Alderman Mitz.
Hey, Alderman Mitz, I counted you in the roll call.
Thank you very much.
Okay. The last item on the agenda is a subject matter hearing regarding the Foreign Fire Insurance Board's expenditure of monies from the Foreign Fire Insurance Tax Revenue Fund pursuant to Section 4-308-025 of the Municipal Code of Chicago. With us today, we have the Foreign Fire Insurance Board members, Chairman Pat Cleary, the Treasurer Pat Quain, the Secretary Mark Kovacevic, Brian Stack, Bob Tebbins, Roy Ohees, and Commissioner Richard Ford II, who is ex officio with us today. Aaron DeCamp, the General Counsel of the Fire Department, is also here with us. This is a subject matter hearing and no vote will be taken on this matter. We will now hear from Chairman Pat Cleary, who is currently Vice President of the Chicago Firefighters Union, Local Number 2. Mr. Cleary.
Good morning, committee. My name is Patrick Cleary. I'm a 34-year member of Chicago Fire Department. I'm a battalion chief, and I'm the chairman of this Foreign Fire Insurance Board committee. Over 2 years ago, there was legislation passed that created this board. And what it does is it collects a fee from insurance companies that are located outside of the state of Illinois. So for example, if a company from Wisconsin insures a building in Chicago, they pay a 2% fee. That money would be collected and then is deposited into an account for the Foreign Fire Insurance Board to spend. There are currently 7 members on the committee. The commissioner is ex officio, and then 6 members were elected by the active members of the Chicago Fire Department. And in order to run for these positions, you must be an active member of the fire department. Right now, the current expenditures that we have spent so far include air conditioning installations, kitchen renovations, particulate barrier hoods for firefighters, firefighting gloves, microwaves, power washers, coffee makers, snow blowers, garbage bags, and EMS coats for our EMS members. Are there any questions that you have for me?
If there are questions on this matter, please raise your hand. Before we get started with questions, Chairman Cleary, I have one question. I looked over the list of the renovations you did in 2020. I noticed there were no South Side fire stations renovated. And I'm just concerned about that. I want to know how you select your projects that you do.
There were many South Side stations that have been renovated, and we get recommendations from AIS that's brought before the board, then the board votes on. But I mean, I could go over the list of companies that have had renovation.
I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at the list of AEC projects for renovations in 2020. And there are literally no projects from, let's say, Cermak to 95th Street, east of the Dan Ryan.
I can give you the list. Engine 28, which is located at 25th and Troop, they're in the process of getting a new kitchen. Engine 29, 35th and Low, they're in the process of getting a new kitchen.
Did you hear what I said? I said between 35th, 22nd and 95th, east of the Dan Ryan.
East of the Dan Ryan.
So my question to you is, how do you select the projects that you do?
AIS provides us with the current firehouses that need to be updated. And then we vote on those updates. So we get that from AIS. We also can recommend to them to go look at a firehouse and provide a quote for renovating that firehouse. And we do have upcoming firehouses that we're going to propose.
Okay, so the question that I'm asking is to be directed towards AIS.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed to see that there are no renovations considered for that part of town.
Well, I can tell you that I'm going to propose that they look at engines 74, which is at 106th and Ewing, engine 80 at 127th and Doty, engine 81 at 105th and Hoxie, engine 97 at 134th and Burley, engine 104 at 116th and Avenue O, and engine 72 at 79th and South Chicago. So those will be up and coming firehouses.
Again, that's not the area that I'm questioning, but
Those are all south and east of the Dan Ryan.
south and east of the Dan Ryan, right? But I said from 22nd to 95th. You just listed 79th and Chicago Avenue.
Yeah.
I heard that, but I'm talking about more on near South, South Shore, Bronzeville,
well, like
Washington Park, Inglewood,
South Chicago,
a lot of those,
Chicago, Auburn, Gresham. I mean,
a lot of those firehouses already have air conditioning and already have the updated kitchen. So what we're trying to do is bring the old firehouses on par with the firehouses that already have air conditioning and new kitchen.
Okay. Alderman Michelle Smith.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a very exciting program. Can you tell us how much in revenue you have now and what you expect to raise every year?
Well, I can tell you that the first amount of money we received was a little over 5 million, and then this next upcoming amount that we're supposed to receive very soon is a little over 6 million.
Okay, I mean, obviously that's very exciting, and obviously a big duty for a board to undertake. Is there a process by which a fire? First of all, how well known is this effort known to the firemen?
The firemen know about it. They elected us.
Okay, and is there a process in your rules and setup where firemen can ask for things? Because some of the things you talked about are pretty specific. So I wondered whether there has been a process where someone could call you up or something and say, hey, we don't have a microwave.
My phone is constantly ringing. There's always suggestions. Also, we talked with the commissioner about putting something on SharePoint where the captains of these firehouses can make recommendations for what they need at their firehouse. So that's a work in progress.
Okay, yeah, because I kind of, I'm in a way following up on what Chairman Dow said, which is if we want to make sure everyone is aware of this, to bring things to your attention. And so are you now coordinating with the city with regard to the capital plan? Because I see that in the capital plan, there's a firehouse in my community that's scheduled to have some renovation. And it's not being paid for out of your fund, it's being paid for out of the transit TIF. And I thought that was very odd. And I wonder if
that fund. We do not work with that fund.
No, I know you don't. That's why I found it odd. So actually, Chairman, I was wondering if there was anyone present who could answer that question of how is the transit TIF, the red brown line transit TIF being used to help with the reconstruction of a firehouse. Obviously, we're delighted to have it, but I didn't know that you could do that.
I don't think we have anyone that can answer that question specifically. I know we have someone from AIS who may be able to talk about the extent to which they coordinate the firehouse decisions with the capital plan people.
Chairman, I believe that Commissioner Reynolds may also be on the call. This is Aaron DeCamp.
Commissioner Reynolds?
He may be with the fire commissioner.
Excuse me? Oh, hey,
Hi, Commissioner.
Hi, Commissioner.
Hey, everybody. Chairman, I'm happy to answer that question. And Alderman Smith, we look at this as another source of funding to help augment the capital plan and the money we spend on TIFs and our annual operating. So this is just, we're excited about it because it is another level of funding so that it allows us to stretch the money that we get from our traditional sources further. And a lot of the things, or kitchens specifically, firefighters live at their fire homes and the kitchens are very important to them and they're often well worn. But if we're making decisions, that may not be something that comes to the top of our list from a bond perspective. So this is a nice way of addressing those things that the firefighters find important and allowing them to prioritize where we spend that money. Concerning the TIF, I do know that in general, improvements to city facilities are TIF eligible. I don't know the semantics of a transit TIF versus a traditional TIF, but I do know that TIF is an important source that we've used citywide to upgrade libraries and police stations and fire stations and other city facilities.
Well, I'll just ask Chairman Dow if I could get that answer through the chair, because it's a firehouse. So, but thank you very much. That's all I have, and congratulations on this program.
Madam Chair, point of order. Madam Chair, Alderman Villegas with a point of order.
Yes, Alderman Villegas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alderman Smith, when you're talking about a transit TIF, are you talking about the TIFIA?
No, the transit TIF, I think the only transit TIF we have right now, which is the red brown line transit TIF that's rebuilding a bunch of stations on the north side and doing the Broadway flyover and all this stuff to expand and rationalize capacity of the red and brown line. It covers huge amounts of many wards. And I'm just curious how that money can be used and to rebuild a fire station and to renovate a fire station. You know, it's not an overwhelmingly large amount, but it's in the capital plan and I wasn't aware of it. And I just want to understand the process.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
That's
you,
all I have,
Alderman
Sharon.
Villegas. Commissioner Reynolds, while we have you on here, can you address my question about the selection process for the renovations, how you think that through? I mean, I was just surprised when I looked at the list and saw the whole swaths of the southeast side of the city not covered at all.
Sure, Chairman, I'm happy to talk about that. This was our first year. The first time historically the funds went back into the corporate account, and so they were just blended with everything else. So it was our first year working on things like kitchens and firehouses. As was stated by the fire Foreign Fire Insurance Board. We make recommendations based on our knowledge of the facilities, and then we work with the board to get their feedback on what to move forward. What I'm excited about for the upcoming year, which I think will address your question going forward, is that we've provided pretty much our entire capital list. So what we anticipate needs to be done at every fire station citywide is on that list. So it'll give the Fire Insurance Board a much broader palette to select from when they're choosing where to spend the money. We take it as we get it. We appreciate the need to make sure that we're investing it citywide. I will reiterate that while we have not been doing as many kitchens and air conditionings as we've done in the past, but we have been chipping away at these over the years. And so really the number of fire stations that haven't had their AC upgraded is getting smaller and smaller. This will allow us to do things, bigger ticket items like the pads outside the facilities, the aprons, to make sure that they're in good condition and can support the weight of the equipment. So we've dipped our toes in, we're seeing how it works, and we're looking forward to making sure that we do it equitably citywide.
Thank you, Commissioner. Alderman Mitchell. Alderman Austin.
I'm sorry, Chairman, I was having difficulty. Okay, Commissioner Reynolds?
Yes.
I would like to request to the chair, can you guys maintain some form of a spreadsheet that lists out all our fire stations and kind of give us all the status on each one? So,
sure.
And because you handle so many things across the city, you know, when you present, can you kind of make that a standard practice where you list out things throughout the communities, and so we actually know and we can do a comparison between what's been done over here versus over there? We won't have to ask this every time?
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Mitchell. Alderman Austin.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think it's Chief Cleary. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
My question is in regards to the Far South Side is getting a news station. And I know that you told Chairman Dow that it has been recommended through various avenues for renovation. But for our station that have been 102 years old, I didn't see very much on the new kitchens or the air conditioners. So, but consequently, we are getting a new station. Are any of those funds have been allocated? Because we're already started, almost finished, in regards to our new station to help alleviate some of the costs?
I do know that the stations that are going to be closing, we told them we don't want to pay to renovate those stations that are going to be closing. Because
no, I don't want to renovate the one that's closing. Right. I'm talking about the new one that's being built.
And what about that new station?
Are any of those funds being allocated to the new station being built to help alleviate some of the costs?
That has not been recommended by AIS, no.
Okay, well, who involves AIS? I mean, who are the members?
I think Commissioner Reynolds should answer that.
Who's all the members, Commissioner Reynolds?
The members of the Fire Insurance Board?
No, is that, yeah, whoever he just said, AIS.
Okay, well, AIS is my department, Assets, Information, and Services. I know that the new EC 115, which is the one in your ward that I commend you for your long, forever pushing to get that built. And it's going to be a model station, so I'm very excited about it.
Yes.
These funds are not being used. As was mentioned earlier, we're getting maybe $5 or $6 million a year. And the intent of the board is to really spend that on smaller projects, not something as significant as a new station.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that, Commission, is because there, as much money as we have allocated for the new station, there are still areas where we do need additional funds. I hate to come back and have to beg for more for this new station, because we still need to claim additional land, which is behind the new station, which I'll have to talk with you about it later. And since we were allocated for, now I don't want to take away from somebody that's been waiting as long as I have, because that is detrimental when you have to wait 10 and 15 years for air conditioner or an upgraded kitchen. And that we had to wait at least 15. So in getting a new station, we're well behind times on that. I can remember or recall talking with then Commissioner Joyce in regards to a new station, and you know how long that's been. The reason why I was asking was because of the funding that I needed in this day and time for new stations, and there's so much more to be done. Even though it's a model, it's beautiful, but there are still some things that need to be done. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Austin. Alderman Napolitano, followed by Alderman Hairston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pat, Rob, great job on this. I had a quick question. How many firehouses are you guys working with right now, citywide?
96 firehouse.
96, right?
96.
Okay. And on average, what's on average, what's a new kitchen upgrade cost you around?
I think AIS would have to provide that information.
All right. I think it's probably anywhere between $80,000 and $100,000. Does that sound correct?
Mr. Reynolds?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I was looking at a spreadsheet, or I'm sorry, Alderman, and missed the mute button. I'm looking at the projects we're doing now, and they range between 40,000 and 100,000 for kitchens. Air conditioners range from about 60,000 to about 150,000.
Okay. Well, I just want to say to you guys, great job in finding a way to augment pricing. You know, it's you're working with that many houses and kitchens and air conditioning systems that are extremely expensive, and you're getting it done little by little and getting a little bit more money put in the pot each year. Great job. Great way to look outside the box. I commend you on this. I really appreciate what you're doing for all these firehouses. 96 houses is a lot of firehouses, and every year you fix one, another one goes bad. So great job. Keep up the good work. You got my full support. Great job, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alderman.
Thank you, Alderman Napolitano. Alderman Hairston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner, I don't remember who is, or is this, does this go to the commissioner or to the board? Who is on the fire board? How many people are on the fire board?
There are 7 members on the fire board.
And are they all male?
Yes.
And what is their racial and ethnic?
6 white, 1 black.
Okay. I do not have the list in front of me, but I want to add my voice to it's not just a disappointment, it's a frustration for the inequity throughout the city for the upgrades. Once again, this city is demonstrating that we must do everything first on the north side and make sure that they're taken care of. And those of us on the southeast side, you know, just have to wait and wait your turn. Commissioner Reynolds, this has been a pattern of yours over the past few years. You know, and I just went back to my budget book and the information that you did not have prepared for budget. There is very little diversity, not just ethnically, but in terms of equity in the city. And I have not seen it change under your leadership. So I am extremely disturbed and frustrated by that. And each year you profess to want to do better and try to make improvements. Yet here we are today, and you've made not one step forward. And if anybody wants to understand why people were rioting, why all of this was going on in the city of Chicago, it's because of this behavior that the city continues to be involved in that services one side of the city over another. And that just has to stop. That just has to stop. And I hope that Chairman Dow will bring you back and we will look at there having been some equity in each of the stations that have been selected. This makes absolutely no sense. No sense. I am more than disappointed. So I just wanted to go on the record and say that. Thank you, Chairman Dow.
Thank you, Alderman Hampton. The ordinance requires an annual review by our committee each year. So they will be back next year.
Well, Alderman Dow, maybe we could bring them back quarterly.
We can talk about that.
Okay, I'd like to do that because then every time we get it, we're a year behind. And so we're
And maybe
never
we
gonna.
can also add equity as a joint.
Correct.
That's a good idea as well. Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gentlemen, Pat, how are you? So I hear what my colleagues are saying. I'm trying to understand. So this ordinance was approved when? Isn't this a new, so Commissioner, I think you said this is the first year we're doing
It was approved
this.
in April 2019.
Okay, so this is the first year, right? Gentlemen, or AI?
We're closing up the second year.
This is the second year. And so this is new, so there's not a huge history here, but in looking at, there's two sheets that I got, which is AEC projects, FFIB renovations 2020. Okay, so that's the current year projects that we're doing, that you're funding out of yours. Or I shouldn't say it, that the city is doing the renovation, utilizing this new source of funds, which was brilliant, and I congratulate. Working with AIS to determine which firehouses.
Yes.
Correct?
That's correct, Chair. Yes.
Okay. And as I'm looking at this, there are 19 renovations in 2020.
Yes,
Of which 13 are either on the south or west sides of Chicago. So like 68%. Correct, Commissioner?
I'm looking at the list now, Alderman. I haven't done the math, so I will defer to your math on that.
I mean, I'm just looking, there was one error because it shows that engine 28 is at 1901 North Damon, but engine 28 is at 2534 South Troop, right?
That's correct.
I think that was a typo that had it.
I apologize for that.
No problem. And so I know my colleague Alderman Mitchell asked to have a list. Can we, so Commissioner, if we can, on that list, I want to make sure we have the list of the firehouses. I'd like to know the year they were constructed. And then if any other renovations, this is just one source of funds. I mean, I've seen new firehouses going up all over the city for the last 20 years. Not in the 11th Ward, but throughout the city, because I know like 29's house is about coming up on 100 years old. But, you know, I think to give all of my colleagues, everyone to have perspective here, let's see what the age and where these, it may be that these are, as Pat mentioned, these are some of the older houses that need those renovations. Many of the other houses have either been reconstructed or the renovation, or they're not as old. And so I'd like to know the year they're constructed, and then the last time there was a renovation to those facilities to help sort of give perspective on this, and that would help me too. And again, I think it's a brilliant idea of a new source of renovation. It doesn't rise to the level of major renovation, so TIF doesn't really make a lot of sense. But when you're doing kitchens and air conditioning and quality of life issue, I think it's important, and I commend all of you for your work on this, and look forward to working with you guys. So thank you, and I look forward to getting that information commissioner, if we can get that through the chair.
Absolutely.
Alderman O'Shea.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to confirm, and I don't know if this question is for you, Commissioner Reynolds. Truck 24, located at 10400 South Vincennes in the 6th District, serving the Beverly community. Is that slated for closure? Because I've been sending emails to the Chicago Fire Department for months, and I can't seem to get an answer. But I'm also receiving emails and phone calls from firefighters in the community pointing out that that could be leaving the east end of my community exposed without proper fire protection. If everybody on this call and Pat, I'd ask for your input. If we're comfortable that closing that firehouse is not putting anybody at risk, I would like something in writing from the fire department to my office that I can share with my community. But again, I've reached out to leadership in the Chicago Fire Department in writing via email. I can produce that for anybody, but through the chair, I'd like an answer on that and something in writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman O'Shea. Vice Chair Silverstein.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Chairman. This is also going to be a piggyback on Alderman Mitchell and Thompson about this list that everyone's requesting. I know, Commissioner, you and I have talked about this before. My firehouse, Engine 71, is probably one of the smallest in the entire city, one of the oldest, and does not have an ambulance. And so I'd like to know how many other firehouses have no ambulance, because this is definitely something that we need in our community. And we've been asking for it for a while. So if you could add to the list, how many of them are running without an ambulance? And I'd like to know what the response time too. We could get the response time, how long it takes to get an ambulance out to people in my area.
Sure, and happy to look at that, Alderman. I'll have to coordinate with the fire department because that's information that I don't necessarily have, but I will coordinate with Commissioner Ford.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair Silverstein. There being no, who else? Moore. Alderman Moore.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to understand and try to piggyback on what Alderman Thompson was saying, more just to understand it. I see where he was going, but I'm trying to understand that based on what Chairman Hairston was saying, although we approved this in April, we have been doing this type of work in terms of rehabbing firehouse for years. This is just the first time we did this, I guess, this joint process, correct?
Alderman, this is the first time that the foreign fire insurance money has been used at a discretionary manner. Previously,
Right.
it went back in the corporate fund.
Right. So previously, your department was still responsible just for rehabbing them, though, right?
Correct. We didn't have this source of funds, but yes.
Right. So the process was still going on. It's just the source of funds. Without having the list, and if someone has it on that list, 68th and Bale, can someone tell me when the last time that one been rehabbed, or is it on the list?
1 second, Alderman.
Engine 101's on the list for a new kitchen.
That's 101?
Yes, at 101st and Bell. I mean, at
No,
69th and Bell. Yes.
60.
Yes.
Right, 69th.
Engine
Right.
101. They're in for a new kitchen.
That's what I was going to ask about, because I've gone in there several times and they sure need one. So that's on the list.
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right.
Just
Thank you. No, I was saying thank you, Chairman. You can go ahead.
No, I was just following up on your question, just for clarification, Alderman Moore. Is that on the capital list for years 2021 through 2025? Can somebody answer my question, please?
Chairman, I am trying to sort our list. Give me please just a second. Chairman, engine company at 2236 West 69th Street, Chicago Lawn is on the list for parking lot fencing, apron repairs, interior finishes, and mechanical systems in the amount of $400,000.
Okay, Commissioner, this list that was given out to the committee members on the capital plan 2020, planning years 2021 through 2025, can you make that in a bigger font?
Sure.
So it can be read and understood by everybody. This is really hard to follow.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's the end of our subject matter hearing. I want to thank Chairman Pat Cleary and Commissioner David Reynolds for presenting to the committee this morning. Thank you all.
Thank you.
In closing, I want to thank the members of the committee for your support and active involvement this year, especially during the budget season. I want you to know that it's truly appreciated. And I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. There being no further business before the committee, can I get a motion to adjourn by the same roll call vote?
So move, Alderman Austin.
Alderman Austin so moves. Hearing no objection, so ordered. The Committee on Budget and Government Operation meeting is now adjourned. Everyone have a great day and a fantastic weekend.